You get numb though, man. I remember after my first deployment, the second deployment I went on, I was not human.
Wow.
Like the first one, I didn't even know what I was getting into. I got contracted. We went out and I saw that I can't even like make up. It was so bad. Because there's parts of the world that you go to and it's so bad that even on the news stations here, they couldn't show it.
Of course.
So what's going on, man? How's life?
Life overall is good.
Married life is good?
This morning, but marriage is good. Little life stuff's just life. Had a dog. Doberman ate the Yorkie's toy and almost died.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you saying
that's scary.
Toy the size of an orange got caught in his intestines.
No way.
Just about died. Perfect storm.
Wow.
Wife was out of town. Ran out of dog food. I bought cheap dog food. I thought the dog food was making him sick. No, he had something in his intestines. I would have taken him to the vet days earlier had it not happened on a day that I changed his food. I was thinking I changed the food. He's throwing up the food I gave him.
Yeah.
So he almost died. $10,000 later.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm just so grateful. Think about the people that love their pets every bit as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Can't afford it.
And they're like, they're going to have to let
put them down.
Yeah, dog's going to die.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I think about that too. You don't have insurance for your dog?
Dude, I canceled it.
Oh.
Wait,
not
so
the
they
insurance.
got
No.
Well, I didn't know.
I have there's difference.
Yeah.
I have the Banfield policy, right? Which is really just for maintenance and shit on the vaccines and checkups and wellness.
That's like a dental plan, basically.
Pretty much, right?
It's like a discount.
But the reason I already hated them was if you call him with an emergency, because the pit had bit the Doberman one day and had a little gash in his hip, and we called Banfield and like, well, the first appointment we got next week, they're like, he's got an open wound.
Like right now?
Yeah, he's got an open wound. Right. Well, take him to the pet hospital. What am I paying you for? Right?
Wow.
So we canceled that one.
Good. Well, I tell you what I have, and it's amazing. It's I have a pet insurance through Nationwide for both of my chows. Yeah, I didn't even know they had it, bro. I didn't even know they had it.
Nationwide has it. Allstate probably does too, don't they?
Probably. So my mom was like, you need to get insurance on your, because I got 2 puppies, and she was like, you need to get insurance on them. And I was like, who? Like who do you get? Like PetSmart?
Is it just?
Do I call PetSmart?
Is it just medical insurance, or is there life insurance?
No, it's like everything, man. Like so, it depends.
They die, they're going to send you a reimbursement check for the cost of the puppy.
I didn't.
That sounds so callous.
I know.
I need some money. Rent it on.
Yeah.
I wasn't even.
That's dark, bro.
I was just thinking like,
well, I know
your dog dies, you already think about just another.
So they cover like,
they're not come out of town.
They'll cover like surgeries and all kinds of shit. So what you do is like when I go to the vet, and whatever I pay for, I just submit that to them. So I pay for it.
They reimburse.
Yeah, and then they send you a check or reimburse
whatever
you.
The percentage.
But they cover like I got like the whatever the best coverage was, and it literally covers everything, man. Like surgeries, injuries, emergencies.
Dude, before I could afford health insurance, I did the Christian Ministries reimbursement.
Okay,
and they reimburse 100% of everything. Wow. But you have to be able to pay out of pocket to cover it.
Oh, okay.
You just save your receipt, they send it. But I had a buddy that had double hip replacement surgery, and they paid for every cent.
Wow.
And with me, when I had the heart surgeries, just the part that was my deductible didn't cover, they did. Send them the bills. They sent me the check. And it's not even that expensive. Wow. It's a Christian thing of people helping people.
So what's the name of the company? There's a company that, I forgot what they call it, but it's like you put in money every month, and then if somebody has a medical bill, they pay it out of that fund.
Oh, it's like a savings, but insurance?
Well, it's like I forgot what you call it. I hate not saying the right thing, but that's the thing.
Somebody will comment.
Yeah. I thought it was a genius idea when they came up with that.
ACN has a company that they do that with.
I thought it was genius whoever came up with that same program for lawyers. You can pay this thing and be part of a thing, and if you ever need a lawyer.
What is it called? Legal Shield?
Oh, Legal Shield. Yeah.
And so, I don't know what the caliber of the attorneys would be.
I don't know, like, are these like all newbies?
It depends on what you're getting done.
I mean, if it's murder, you might want to hire your own, but
you got
all that paperwork
stuff,
civil stuff,
Yeah, I don't think those
You get the legal Zoom lawyers, right?
I don't think those are the movers and the shakers in the community.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man.
I'm pretty sure they.
How long have you been married now?
Since September. Yeah,
Okay.
Still on the newlywed.
Newly. How's that going, man?
Man, let me tell you,
You loving life?
The whole last podcast was damn near 2 hours of me bragging on my wife. We can go down
She's
that road
awesome.
again.
I don't think she minds.
Right? It's just
I don't think she minds.
she continues to amaze me.
Yeah.
And we're growing just stronger and stronger. And we had her in-laws in town. And mom and dad are divorced. And mama wasn't around for a while, so it's kind of almost like a sister. Like her oldest sister's more like her mom than her mom, in my opinion. They might make that argument in their mind, right?
Right.
But the observation, and based on my experience, that's what I see. Mom and dad are divorced, but they came together and they get along fine, but they've been divorced like 10 years, right? But, I hate cliches, but my mother-in-law is just, she's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
She extra.
And I try to, and it wasn't anything major, She didn't tell us she was bringing the dog, and then Precious told her, don't bring the dog in the house. We got to acclimate them and bring them in together.
You got a Doberman in the pit, right?
Doberman, a pit, New Yorkie, yeah.
That's a combination.
Right.
That's
And so mom didn't listen and gets out of the Uber and comes on in the house with the dog. The pit's
Mm.
in the cage and sees there's another dog in the house. So then mom tries to take the dogs outside, not even understand how to acclimate them. I learned it from Caesar on the Dog Whisperer. You take both dogs outside, put them on a leash, you introduce them, and you let them walk side by side into the front door. So there's not an alpha.
Yep.
They're equal as
Same
they enter
time.
that domain.
Same time, yeah.
And she didn't do that, and she's out there, and she puts the dog down. And if I had time, I'll show you the video. I can send it to you, and you can put it on the podcast. But the pit almost killed Mama's dog, and poor Precious swan dived off the front fucking porch onto the cement
To grab the
save
dog?
The dog is all busted up. Both busted knee, busted elbows, teeth marks in her hand for prying the pit's jaws.
So
Wow.
let me ask you a question. How long ago was that?
8 days?
Yeah. So about 8 days ago, 10 days ago. Yeah.
You got attacked by a dog?
dogs. No. Listen,
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about
I-
this.
He told me to.
I told you.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm in the bathroom. No, I leave. I'm Kelly by whatever.
Yeah,
I leave.
yeah.
I go to the gym. I get out the car and I'm walking towards the gym and my phone goes off and it's her. I answer the phone. She's hyperventilating. You have to come home right now. The dogs are fighting. I'm just like, oh my God. Because, Kelly's hard. You know what I'm saying?
Like-
For her to be
Milwaukee
sounding like
girl.
that,
No, I
bro,
get it.
I was like tripping.
Like,
I was drove home so damn fast. So I go in the house and we have a young, like two-year-old. I don't even know what she is. She's mixed, but she looks like a little brindle pit. Then I got
How much you weigh?
maybe close to 100, maybe.
Okay, big dog.
85.
Yeah.
She ain't
Big
no
dog.
little.
Yeah.
And then my Rottweiler, she's like 6 or 7, maybe 8 now.
About 110.
Yeah, they weigh about the same. One is a little taller. So anyway, they get into it. Like, I'm thinking they fighting over a toy because I'm trying to figure out the situation. And I called my friend who's a dog handler, and he was just like, no, that's probably one of them. The young one is probably trying to take over.
Yep.
And the old one like, not yet, bitch.
Not yet, motherfucker.
Not yet, bitch.
Yeah.
Bro, so the last week and a half, they've been separated. Like, we take two, let them out. I mean, I want to, man, that's tough.
rough.
Because Daisy is the Rottweiler. She's like, no, her dad is 8 years in a row best in show champion. She'd rather die.
Yeah,
I've tried to explain this to Precious. When she said she wanted a third dog, I'm like, the only reason I have the pits, I've been a Doberman guy my whole life. The only reason I had the pits because my little brother wanted me to have one of his pits.
He made his own pits?
No,
Like he bred them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got one called Biggie that's just a monster black XL. I mean, he's just a beast. Everybody that's ever seen the dog says, oh, that's one of the biggest XL pits I've ever seen. So I got pick of the litter. I picked a female. And I wouldn't have got her fixed, but I was in a townhome, and Dobermans, when they're on their period, lick themselves clean. Blood's not anywhere because they will drink every drop of that blood.
Wow.
Every Doberman ever had.
Oh, shit.
Queen, the pit, would let that thing get on her tail and wag that tail and sling blood all
Just
over the town.
everywhere?
Yeah,
Wow.
I hated it, but I had to get her fixed.
Yeah.
But
That's
she
right.
is the alpha of the pack now that we have the Doberman, who's about 19 months old, and he's probably about 90. Well, before he got sick just now, he's probably about 90 pounds. And he'll be 130 when he's done. And then we got a 2.5 pound teacup Yorkie. And
That's so funny.
the pit was never aggressive to people nor dogs until she became the leader of a pack. Now she's aggressive towards some other dogs, not all of the dogs, some other dogs. She jumped the fence and almost killed this poodle next door. I had to build a whole new fence, a privacy fence that she couldn't see or get around.
No shit.
So, you know, that the male Dobie who has his nut still, he will be the alpha of the house at some point in time,
Right.
if he lives. Get it? Because if he challenges her too early,
Yeah.
she could kill him. Right?
I'm telling you, bro. I had blood all on the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was
wasn't
a
good.
scene.
So she's already snipped at him. She's pretty understanding. She knows he's the puppy, right? So she hadn't hurt him. When she's bitten him and it made a wound, it's when she was outside all amped up about the poodle on the other side of the fence. And she's in go mode.
Yeah.
And then he goes to fuck with her,
Yeah.
play with her, and she's in go mode and just
Yeah.
tag. Right? But there'll come a day
Yeah.
when he decides
Yeah.
he's not going to squeal.
Yeah.
And she's just solid muscle. And I'm scared for him because I'm hoping that eventually she'll bow down without having to kill him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, all right, go ahead, player.
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm
I'll let
hoping.
you.
I'm hoping that Daisy does that because the other dog's name is Heaven. We call it. One of our friends came over, and he's like, "What's her name?" He said Heaven. He said Kevin. So we've been calling her Kevin.
Oh
ever
my
since.
God, that's fucking funny.
We keep calling her.
Kevin.
So, but I don't know, man. I love them so much. I'm just like, man, I need y'all to get along.
Yeah.
And while I'm around, they don't do nothing. Because that's what I'm really afraid
Well,
of.
you know
Like,
why? You know why? Because they know you're the alpha in the
Yes,
house. That's
exactly
why.
it. You are the
Yeah.
alpha in the house because
They're not gonna challenge anybody because you're the
Heaven
top
is like Oscar he is a bully.
Yeah.
Oscar, he's huge. And then Daisy, they're both like they're lap dogs.
Yeah.
I come down in the morning, Kelly's on the couch.
Yeah. On top of her.
They all on the couch together.
Yeah.
In the But Kevin, now she's like that. She wants to be a lap dog.
Kevin.
Kevin.
That's so great.
Gender-
Kevin.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's the world coming
And
to?
so
Kevin. I know.
I hope that my man was like, hey man, he told me he said it would cost $9,000.
To have a penis on?
No. For me to give him my dogs for 6 weeks, pay him $9,000, and
He'll take care of it and train them.
I'm like,
Surim's husband, Carlos.
that's what I'm talking about.
Carlos going to charge you $9,000?
That's what he told me.
Wow, his price have gone up. I got the buddy price last time, but it was about $5. I didn't know I got a
Carlos,
buddy price.
what
yeah.
you doing, bro?
So, being a dog lover is those are our kids because we don't have any yet.
Yeah, for sure.
And we talk about being the alpha. All of them listen to me. I ain't got to get the little clicker.
Yeah.
Right? The collars ain't got to be on.
Yeah.
They listen to me, but sometimes they listen to mom, sometimes they don't. Kind of what it feels like. But she
Yeah.
doesn't put no bass in her voice, number one. And then they're just like children in the sense that if they know that they don't have to do it until the third time you tell them, the first 2 times they don't care because they know that you're not going to come over and smack their ass until you have to say it the third time.
Yep. They're like,
Yesterday.
They test you.
Yesterday, I had the Oscar and Daisy in the room, and Kevin was outside the door. So, matter of fact, she was down at the bottom of the steps. And so I opened the door, and I had something in my hand. I couldn't close the door with my foot. So Daisy runs to the top of the
Still
steps.
keep them separated?
Yeah,
Still?
yeah.
For how long?
I mean, well, I've been trying to get my son so we can do it together. Like, when I'm gone, he's there, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but are you going to keep them separated indefinitely?
No.
Gotta have a plan.
You got to work them back in.
I'm working on the plan still.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Daisy
2
darts.
men enter, 1 man leaves.
Yeah. Daisy darts out of the room, and she's at the top of the steps about to charge out. I'm like, Daisy, and she's like trying to. It was funny how she was trying to make up her mind. Am I going to go downstairs?
You're like,
She was
"My
like,
ass kicked or
I'm
good
coming
ball?"
back in the room.
Yeah.
I was like, Daisy. She was like, okay, I'm coming back in the room.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah, that's like my dogs. If my dogs start like fucking around with each other outside, my wife will be like, baby, they're fighting. I'm like, so I'll turn on the mic outside, on the camera. I'll just go, hey. they both stop.
Yeah.
And they start looking around and shit. They're like, oh,
he's
about to
watching.
get, about to get fucked
hilarious.
up.
You know what's so funny? I never watch any of the cameras in my house. I don't watch them when I'm away. I don't watch them when I'm home.
They're just
I
there.
don't have time, right? But the day that the dog incident fight out front porch, Mom and Dad had just got to town. It was one of the few days that my wife didn't have fresh flowers on the bar, so I ordered some. And he said he's going to try to get them there. It was late in the day before I thought about it. And when I got the notification there was a vehicle at the front door.
You're like, who the fuck's in my
I
house?
went to look and to see if it was the flowers being delivered, and I watched the fight in real time.
Stop it.
Right? And I'm never watching the cameras. Yeah, because I'm not looking at my phone. I don't even see the notification. Like, oh, the vehicle scene. It was the Uber dropping Mom and Dad off.
Yeah.
This was at least 15 or 20 minutes past that time.
Wow.
And I'm watching the video of them all outside, and they're all outside, and I'm just happen to be watching. And man, talk about tripping out when I'm seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
It was surreal.
I can only imagine.
It was surreal.
I can only
I'll show you
imagine.
the video. Like,
Yeah.
it's, well, I'm sorry, love. Precious is in her bathrobe with nothing else on it. So you can't see anything.
Right.
You know, but she butt ass naked by the time it's over. Cause she's,
wow.
you know what I'm saying? Because she's upside down, rolled around on the ground. Like she's everything.
But you know
taken.
what though? Props to her because she instinctively was
Oh,
like,
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, she wasn't even close. She came from the front, you know, from 25 feet away.
wow, man, that's
And
crazy.
was on it, on the ground, you know.
That's
all
exactly
in.
what Kelly said. She was like, I couldn't do nothing with him. Devin had to come. Devin said I could grab one of them and was kicking the other one down.
Yeah,
They was going at it.
Got to.
Wow, yeah, because once they turn that on,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you have to shut it
You
off.
could easily get bit.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. They was all cut up.
Yeah.
She got better on here.
yeah. Wow, that's crazy, man. Well, you got a strong woman.
I did.
That's good.
Yeah.
She's proven herself a
I
few
ain't gonna
times.
lie, boy.
Like we all have strong women. That's
Yeah.
one thing. That's another thing we
Many
have.
commonalities.
Yeah, yeah.
About what we define as an alpha male.
That's right.
Right? Most, I'm not even going to say most, because, you know, to me, that circle, not just my circle, but that definition is a dying breed.
Oh, extinct.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, endangered.
And so, but when I think about it, every single one, with the exception of one, they have alpha females too, because that's what they want, a partner, right?
Yeah.
That
A
doesn't
female
mean that she's
version.
not submissive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She does submit to the alpha of the household, just like the leader of the pack of dogs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But she submits to the alpha, but outside of him, she takes absolutely no shit,
No
from,
shit from
anybody.
anybody.
To protect herself. Man, I don't want this podcast to be, you know, another 2 hours of bragging on a wife, but when you're talking about how scared you were when Kelly called you,
Yeah.
that's only happened to me once with Precious. And I may have told you the story, I'm not sure. About a month ago, Saturdays normally take your wife to work day for like half a day, and then we go dick around, right? She goes in the office and plays on her laptop or whatever while I work for a couple of hours, and then we spend the rest of the day together.
Right.
And I enjoy it. She enjoys it. One day she was going to go get waxed, and I'm like, well, go ahead and take care of that, and, you know, we'll meet up. And she calls me, and she's never said this, and she's hyperventilating like Kelly, and she says, I need you to come here right now. I'm like, what's going on, baby? She says, this guy just threatened to shoot me over a parking space. I was letting the old lady get out of the grocery store.
the
and he was
fuck-
laying on his horn, and when I parked, he got up and came in and chest bumped me.
What?
And then said,
Bro.
and said that
I'd be like,
said
hey.
that he was going to shoot me. I said, text me the address. I'm on the way.
Yeah.
So I made the decision, which I'm kind of proud of, easy in retrospect to say that, right? To not grab a gun,
Right.
because I'm a convicted felon.
Yeah.
Me showing up under any circumstances, even as self-defense, you're a
Yeah.
felon, you intentionally brought a gun, what
Yeah.
your wife called, you're going to prison.
Yep.
Yeah, mandatory 5 just for possession of a firearm.
That's a crazy one, man.
So I raced up there unarmed, because I really don't care if you got a gun, because
I'm gonna.
my experiences show me that if I'm in arm's reach of you and you have your gun, I can take it from you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I've done it more than once.
For sure.
And maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get shot. But
But you getting shot too.
Yeah. Just like
We're both getting shot, motherfucker.
So anyway, I'm on the phone with her and I said, listen, I says, what are you? She says, I'm inside the car. Right still. I says, how close are you to the front door of the wax place? She says, I'm in the very first spot. I says, right now while you're on the phone, I want you to get out. And if you feel like you need to run, I need you to run into a place of business.
Right.
Right.
Pick one.
You pick one. She says, okay, I'm inside now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to hang up so I can drive. So I'm hauling ass up there. And of course, by the time I get there,
he's gone.
Right. But the old lady who was going into the grocery store comes back out and like, what was wrong with that guy? You were just letting me cross the street. Like that was crazy. She saw the whole thing.
Wow.
Right? Unbeknownst to me at the time, where she was at the corner of Abernathy and Roswell Road, that's Sandy Springs Police Department. And I treat about 300 local law enforcement. But what I recently learned is they have the fastest 911 response time of any place in the metropolitan Atlanta area. Right. That's why they incorporated. There's Sandy Springs cops fucking everywhere. We really don't have any crime in Sandy Springs. You can park your car on Roswell Road in Sandy Springs.
You're okay.
And you're okay. You park your car right down the road and cross the line into Buckhead, you're missing windows. Right? Period. The
Or the car. Or the whole car.
Yeah, period. The end. Right? So just the fact that when she told me the more details of the stories, what I think of it is like, this dude's a big old bodybuilder type, and wearing a tank top when it's 50 degrees outside. Right? She gets out of the car on this dude. I'm like, how did he chest bump you when you're in the car?
That's what I was.
Right? Yeah. And she says, he was talking shit. I got out of the car. Told him he couldn't talk to me that way. I'm like, you lost your fucking mind. Like you got to use some little common sense. You're, I know you can throw them things, but you're still a girl. Right. You're still a girl. Right? You're still a girl. Yeah. Which,
And if you throw the things and get him a couple times, he's going to be like, damn, I got to really fight this.
Well, it's not doing.
He already said he didn't threaten to shoot her until she got out of the car and challenged him. Now it's not, I'll beat your ass. He's such a much of a fucking pussy that I'm going to shoot you. He goes straight down, I'm going to go get a gun because that's how that beta bitch mentality is. They don't want to throw them things, even with a girl. Right?
Wow.
Right?
He should have, as soon as he saw she was a girl, he should have been like, you know what?
Okay.
My bad.
Let's play worst case scenario. Let's pretend what she wasn't. That she was completely driving like a jerk.
Yeah.
That stole his parking space or something. Yeah. And flipped him off.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get an ass chewing. Yeah, you stupid bitch. You know what I'm saying? But he was using the racial slurs and
he was.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
And maybe because I'm white, the racial slurs don't bother me as much as probably if I wasn't, right?
Yeah.
You could call me a cracker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's your ignorance.
You'll be like, rich,
I've been called one before.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I've been called way worse.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't bother me. And I hate when, everybody now plays the race card on everything. And it's sad because it causes more division when you make everything about race. Yeah. Look, there is no doubt there is racism. There is no doubt there are racist police, just like there's racist cops and doctors and lawyers. There are ignorant people of every race. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be black to be a racist. Right. If you think that because I'm white that I can't be proud of my heritage, then you're a racist. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So, and there's so much division because, the media, the people that control the media, there's a tool, right? Mm-hmm. They pump the stories about the one white cop that shoots the black guy, right? But they never talk about the number one cause of death for black men between the age of 18 and 25. What is it, Tony?
A black man.
Another black man. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. You never hear any activists talking about the youth killing other youth. You hear some old school black men talk about it like, I used to be able to walk the streets in my own neighborhood and not have to worry about some of my neighbors' kids robbing and killing me, right? And just the whole thing about there's systemic racism, right? There are some things we could do that would definitely help race relations, but always propaganda in both sides, right and left, right? Mm-hmm. Always blowing up the case where the one white guy kills the black person, right? and not talking about these other things and not talking about all the good things, because the good things don't sell. I get it.
Right.
But, you know, you never hear about all the good cop stories about,
Exactly.
you know, Lil Wayne tells a great one about, about
Do basketball.
you know, when he got shot in the trap
Oh, yeah.
house and all the black cops stepped over him and a white cop said, yo,
What the hell?
what the fuck are you doing? This kid's dying. And literally picked him up and took him in his police car saved his life.
Wow.
A white cop, right?
Wow.
So I hate it because that hatred breeds hatred. And if everything is about race, then everything is about race. And there are some things that are. Look, systemic racism is bad. Like, the judicial system is racist. You know,
But it's taught, though. It's not natural.
No doubt. We've had that. We had that conversation.
Yeah. So,
you know, it's learned behavior. Probably the most interesting thing, though, about that, and I read this in a Scientific American magazine 20 years ago. When they filmed the first Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston, filmed it in California. Back then, there weren't a whole lot of Hispanics in California. There were some, but it was mainly white, black, and Asian, right? Those were the populations of California. So when they ran the ad for extras, and there was a really high-paying extra job because you had to be in this costume all day, right? So some people were gorillas, and some people were chimpanzees, right?
And a couple of
orangutans, right? What they found was that no matter what the race of the person was underneath the costume, that at lunchtime, they all sat with their group.
Oh.
You know what I'm
saw
saying?
the gorillas sat with the gorillas?
Yeah.
That's
the
hilarious.
gorillas.
That is hilarious.
The gorillas sat with the gorillas.
That is
the
hilarious.
chimpanzees sat with the chimpanzees. And the orangutans sat with the orangutans. Because it's natural human nature to gravitate people that we perceive to be like us.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, behind most racism at its root cause is fear of things that I don't understand or they're different than I.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Right? So if I don't understand something, especially if it's very different than the way that I was raised to do things, to walk, to talk, to dress, to party, to vacation, to whatever it is culturally, if it's different to me, I understand it. And so I'm a little bit afraid of it because I don't understand it, right? So there's a little bit of fear, right? That is so easily exacerbated when the media preaches hate and fear and hate and fear and hate and fear and hate and fear and hate and fear. God, here we are. I don't know how we got here, but it's one of the things I want to talk about, right? The propaganda machine. It's not just the left, although the left owns most of it. It's the right. The right's propaganda too. It used to be when we were young, you watched the news and said, hey, a plane crashed today and 13 people were died. They say it was mechanical failure. Today, it's a plane crash today, 13 people died. They say it's mechanical failure, but it's because of this policy or that policy. And now there's these opinions
added
on
Boeing
on top of the news, right? It's all propaganda. And it's not just for a little while, only a brief period. I could watch the right-leaning news, but just the fact that you say leaning makes it biased because it's leaning, right? And it would be a little bit closer to what I believe is true, but now it's not. It's just propaganda. They're propagating, the hate against the left, just like the left is propagating the hate against the right. Divide and conquer. They keep us all fighting. They keep us all separate. So it's really hard to kind of understand what's really going on in the world with what's limited information that we're able to get. For a long time, what I would do is I would read the English European news to get their opinion that at the time was less biased. But now it's not because it's global. It's a global thing. The elitists that control all the media, they control it in London just like they control it here, right? They're having the same issues there. Racism is worse in England now than it was 20 years ago. Racism is worse now here than it was 20 years ago. Now I want to correct myself. racism isn't worse. It's actually way better, right? But they're telling us that it's worse, and we think that it's worse because we're bombarded with it's worse, when really it's not. Call me ignorant, but I honestly, and this is a true story, I honestly believe 25 years ago that by the time that my kids were grown, there'd be no such thing as anybody talking about racism anymore because we'd all be mixed, right? And we'd all have learned.
You can't be racist.
Right? Yeah, we've all learned that we all bleed red, and if you do the 23andMe, is that what they call it?
Right.
We all got a little bit
ancestry.
Yeah, we all got a little bit of somebody in us.
Right.
And if I talk about the things that, as a white, older male, when I have conversations with younger blacks, my opinion is completely discounted because you're just some old white guy.
You don't know.
Yeah, you're just some old white guy.
Wow.
You're inherently racist. That's what they're teaching. We talked about it in Common Core and critical race theory, not common critical race theory. They're teaching that whites are inherently racist, that they're all that way and they can't help it, and that blacks are always going to have a harder time succeeding, and that the cards are always going to be stacked against you. I don't want my black child to think that he can't do anything that he wants to, right? Or to think that any race is just inherently racist, because they're not, right? They're just not. It's not. It's learned behavior. It's not natural. Someone taught you the hate, and they're teaching more hate. But I love to talk to people that have opinions different than mine, so that I can stay open-minded. And I've changed my opinions on some things, right? But sometimes it's really had to have the conversation for two reasons. One, like I said, the thing about old white guy, so I'm just biased and racist to begin with, right?
But clearly you're racist. That's why you're married to
a black woman.
A black
right.
woman.
Right.
Look,
clearly I'm racist because
I've had black males tell me to my face that that's still the slave mentality.
Wow.
What's still the slave mentality?
The fact that I own a black woman, that she's my slave.
What?
Right? Have
they met her?
Bro.
Have they met
She owns you,
No,
son.
that's the point. These people don't even know me, so you're calling me a racist and don't know anything about the people that I hire, the way I treat people. One of my best friends. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I hate it.
That's so crazy.
Because people usually are racist. Say, I'm not racist. I got a black friend.
Right, yeah.
That is racist.
A black friend.
If you had to make that comment, it is racist. And it is out there. But so I try to stay open-minded and have these discussions, and it's really hard because they discount my opinion when I'm trying to not sell you on anything, but we're just having a discussion.
Right.
And then it's gotten to the point, the light bulb went off for me a couple of weeks ago when I was having a political conversation with a educated black young female I have a lot of respect for, really smart, educated. And I was pointing out some of the stuff that the news had said about Trump was completely false, right? And she said, no, it's not. And I said, well, let's have a discussion about it. And she said, I'm tired of trying to convince Trump supporters that he's not a Nazi. And that's what the conversation was, that Trump was a Nazi, right? Wow. And so I don't want to talk about it. So me, because she's my friend, I was like, great, let's just talk about anything but politics, right? But she kind of ghosted on me, because people that stop talking to other people because your political or religious differences are different than yours, you're a fucking idiot. You're so shallow and stupid. You are ignorant in the worst form, because
100%.
I like the way he's speaking into the microphone.
Well,
because it's true.
It is because how are we all going to live if we can't communicate with each other and learn from each other and stay open-minded, where you might educate me on something that changes my mind. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole. We're in the middle of one of those right now, right? It's just it's sad to me, because I like having the discussions. Like I'm extremely liberal on almost all social issues, for what I understood liberalism to be up until the past 8 years. Right?
Hello.
Right?
I thought I was liberal too.
Right.
No, we all did.
But I'm not now.
No,
because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like if you
because
had me 10 years ago,
the liberal agenda now, like I don't care who you are. and again, this is why they don't want to have the discussions, I think, because people hate the facts and the data or
The
common sense.
Or the common sense.
Common sense, right?
Yeah.
There is nothing you can say that will ever convince me that it's okay to allow, much less encourage, a minor to change their gender.
What?
100%.
So you're telling me that a 7, 8, 10-year-old, he can't decide what's for dinner.
What to wear?
Yep, he can't decide what his bedtime
put
is.
The shoes on the right feet.
He can't.
Yeah.
He can't vote. He can't drive. He can't drink. He can't do anything. But you're going to let him decide at that age what gender he's going to be for the rest of his life. Then he can't change his mind on the decision if he made it a bad one.
Yeah.
Look, once you're 18, if you want to cut your penis off or grow one, right? That's on you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all up. See, that to me is liberalism. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
You're grown. I'm for less government satellite.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone, and I'll leave you alone, and you do what you want to do, and I do what you want to do, and and you live your life, and me, I live my life. I'm not going to try to convince you or morally talk down to you. And they, a lot of people on the left, they claim this moral, spiritual, but it's not. It's all a facade. It's the opposite. So that's one of the big sticking points for me because, to have these laws, and in California is the perfect example of what the country would look like eventually if we keep going down that direction.
100%.
Overly regulated. I won't even have a business in California now. It's it's the regulations and the stipulations, they're making it impossible to be a small business owner. Easy to be a Walmart, right? All the regulations, the fact that you can't get arrested for shoplifting. So if anybody can come in and take all your shit, then you can't even call the police because they're not going to do anything. So that can just roll into your place of business and load up a cart and say, "Thanks, appreciate you."
They did. Man. They would do it all the time. I've seen the videos.
All those stores are moving out.
Yeah,
they've leaving the country. The state's going to collapse because all the businesses, small and big, are leaving.
Dude, I had a friend of mine that lives out there. He was like, bro, you're not gonna believe this shit. He walked into the CVS he would always walk into. Yeah. When I tell you every aisle is behind plexiglass, they have to unlock it for
everything.
Usually it's like
for lifesavers, for gummy bears.
Yeah. When I tell you, because he told me, and I was like, "What do you mean, like the whole thing?" He's like,
"We were in Miami, and I was in an Uber. She was like, needed to go. We was about to go on a cruise, so she wanted to run a CVS right quick. She was in there for like 45 minutes." She comes out because we only need like razors. Like
You're like, I need razors and shaving
what
cream.
the hell? She's like, I had to wait till somebody come unlock it.
Yeah,
like,
but the razors are a high shoplifting item.
Well, no, razors, but it was something else that wouldn't be.
Normally,
like, I'm like, but why did you just get that? Oh, I wanted Metamucil.
Oh, shit.
That was
locked up. Yeah. We don't want anybody shitting themselves.
I was like, damn, the Metamucil was locked up.
Right. But that's what he like literally walked in there. He was FaceTiming because I was like, what you're saying is ridiculous. There's no way. And then like 2 days later, it was like on the news. They were like, this is what's going on in California. I was like, I just saw that shit.
Yeah, but the crazy part is, again, sticking to like what the world would be like if we didn't get saved by Trump. And I'm going to back up on Trump in a minute, but they have a law in California that the teacher doesn't have to communicate to the parent certain things about the child. Wow. So they don't have to tell the parent if the child thinks that he's gay. Right? Which I kind of almost even understand that one. I can understand how you might think that's okay, right? Because I'm liberal, right?
Yeah.
But you can't not tell the parent that the child is transitioning.
Yeah, wearing a dress with changing into a dress.
High heels and shit.
Or any more than you would tell him that he's not on drugs.
Right.
Or that he's failing in school.
Right.
Or beating up other people. Yeah. Like, I'm the parent. It's not... they're saying, oh, it takes a village. These are our children. No, it's not. These are my kids. I make the decision for my kids. That's why so many people out there are starting to homeschool their kids, right? Because again, it's by design. We want it to be okay for you not to tell the parents because we're going to encourage the children to transition because it's population control, right? If we're all dating the same sex, the population is going to drop drastically very quickly. Men can't have babies or menstrual cycles, right? But they're telling us that they can.
Some of them, I was going to say. So they're like,
crazy.
Yes, I can. Like,
so
no, you can't.
It's I was never a big Trump fan. Right,
me neither.
I was raised Republican. It's no doubt. My grandparents had presidential candidates in the house for dinner. We had 3 of them. I got a picture of my grandmother kissing Ronald Reagan at his inauguration. Like, literally, right? They were big time donors, very active politics. I didn't understand it then why. I didn't know, right? Yeah. And then as I got older and started paying attention, you know, the fundamental difference between Republicans and Democrats, you know, conservatives or liberals, the fundamental difference, beside all the other crazy shit, just the fundamental difference in the history of our country has been Republicans, conservatives are for less government, period. And whatever government you do have, the bigger part of it is on the state and local level, not the federal level. So that A, I have a bigger say in my community, and that B, my tax dollars that I spend here don't go for something crazy in California, right? Right. Liberals are the opposite: more federal government, more programs, more socialism,
control.
Yeah, not just control. Socialism would be part of it, but like they've conditioned young people to believe that socialism will work. It never has. It never will. Right. It can't. But if you understand, again, common sense, human nature, if I pay you to do the bare minimum, a vast majority of the population will do the bare minimum. If I house you, feed you, and let you watch Netflix, drink and smoke.
Send you universal basic income.
Yep. Yep. Then I'm cool with it. Cool. I'll just live this life and kind of dick around and have no ambition. They've taught capitalism is bad. It's funny, I make the joke all the time. You'll see these young kids brainwashed into thinking socialism, oh, it just hasn't been done right before. Or they'll say these countries that have some socialist policies work. And for a while they might. Look at Canada's medical system. Right. They rant and rave for more than a decade. Now those people are coming to America to get surgeries because there's a fucking 1 year, 1 year waiting list for a life-threatening surgery.
I'm gonna be sick next year. Let me make an appointment.
Yeah, exactly. Man. So
even with fatal,
bro, yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
So again, they're every example. You can go back in the farthest history as you want to. Socialism has never worked. It would never work. By design and common sense, it could never work. It might work in a little community hippie village of 100 people, right? Yeah. But it's not going to work because the other thing about capitalism, two things. One is capitalism is the only thing that allowed any person of race or class to elevate themselves to the upper class. Capitalism. Before that, it was plunder. If I wanted to get more, I had to go take it from somebody else, right? Capitalism, free market capitalism, it drives innovation. That if I can make a better widget, I'm going to get paid. It drives the ability for everyone to thrive. There's a reason people swim in a lifeboat from Cuba to get here because you can come here with nothing, work your ass off, and fucking become rich just by saving money and working hard. You can have a blue collar job in this country still to this day, although they tell you you can't. The media tells you, oh, I will tell you.
You hear about the janitor that had like $8 million when he died or something?
What? Yeah.
Because he invested all his money.
Now what it has changed by design is like, you probably need two incomes for most people to run a family now because they want it that way. They wanted the women to work. They wanted them to feel like they not have kids. They wanted to have fatherless homes. They incentivize it. The government incentivizes you to have more kids, get more welfare checks. But anyway, the fundamental difference is like capitalism allows you to advance your class and it drives the only innovation. No one would make a better iPhone if you couldn't sell a better iPhone, right? So these kids that have been conditioned, right, have been brainwashed to thinking socialism is good. They'll tell you how bad capitalism is sitting in a Starbucks talking on their iPhone. Literally. Literally.
Like literally.
Like not understanding that both of those things are the most Apple and Starbucks are the most extreme examples of capitalism that we have in this country.
Yeah.
So speaking of capitalism and speaking of socialism, so there's certain things, in my opinion, that, not saying that you don't charge money or make money, but like health, health, education, and food, right? When you let the bottom dollar take the forefront in these three situations, that's when we suffer as a people, in my opinion. So not saying it's not for profit or whatever, but what I'm saying is control these elements. So in other words, we want the best food, the best education, and the best medical. Right?
So first,
you tracking me?
I am, but let me ask you a question.
Okay, cool.
Because we might have a difference of opinion on this.
No, this is me asking a question. No. I don't have an opinion.
So which do you think is going to work better? We can pick any one of those three things. Let's start with healthcare.
Okay.
What do you think is going to work better? Government-run healthcare or privately run healthcare?
Private.
Okay. Couldn't you say that about any single institution? Education. What's better, the
Private.
public school, private school? So
And food.
which is
Private.
Private,
Yeah.
right? So it's very controversial because they've been brainwashed to say it's bad. I said we privatize all this shit.
I think that's what I mean.
Okay, then I misunderstood you.
No.
I thought you were saying
I was
it should
trying
be provided.
I was trying to word it.
Okay.
So private would be. What I'm saying is, so in order for us to have the best medical, it has to be private.
Competition will drive the price of all of those things and the quality up. People don't get it.
Well, that's what I'm. Yeah.
They're so upset about all these people that are getting laid off. It's laughable. It's fucking a joke. Now, let's stay away from the corruption side of it. All politicians are corrupt on both sides.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every fucking one of
They
them.
do what they got to do.
Right. They do what they do to ensure that they stay in power and they get rich. They do not serve the constituents. Term limits will take care of that. It'll never happen because they would never vote themselves to term limits, right? It's never ever going to happen. We'd have to have a constitutional
It'll never happen.
right?
Adjustment.
Yeah, it never happen.
Wow.
But-
you're right. They wouldn't do that.
Why would they? Right.
no.
So taking the corruption part out of it that they're starting to uncover, it doesn't matter what business that you're talking about. The government, there's a joke, the expression like going postal, right? You get so aggravated with the U.S. Postal Service because they suck so bad, and you lose your temper, right? And then the other example of that is if you work at the post office, the only way that you could possibly get fired is if you kill someone in the post office while you're at work. You might get fired, right? Wow. You might get fired.
You still might might still have a job.
Do I still have my job?
Yeah. When you get out.
No, but it's laughable because it's funny.
Right.
Like,
Wow.
I know a girl.
I'll be back on Tuesday.
I know a girl that works all night and works at the post office at daytime. Young, go get her, and I got all this mad respect. I'm like, man, how do you do it? You work a night job as a server. You get out here at 12, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You're at the post office at 8 o'clock in the morning, like every day. How do you do it? She says, oh, I just sleep at the post office. Like,
Oh wow.
I'm like, what? She says, oh yeah. She says, I clock in. I go to the break room. I go to sleep. I wake up, work a little bit, go back, eat, go back to sleep, wake up, clock out, go home.
Wow.
There's no accountability. You can't get fired, right? Yeah. Because there's no, again, if it was a private enterprise, someone would make sure you were fucking working.
Yeah.
The camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Ass to work.
Exactly.
Well, there'll be somebody there
but
physically.
nobody cares.
No,
and it's so bad. Like I use USPS for one of my businesses. Wife used it for one of hers too. And like we drop packages literally daily to the post office every day. And this lady went to the post office by our house, like so many of them are, they could care less. They're doing the bare fucking minimum.
Slow.
They're moving as slow as they possibly can move.
Yeah.
There's no performance incentive.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling because you compare that to FedEx or UPS or anything else that privatized. Then when you look, because again, businesses, I can't even use USPS in my med spas for medication. Shit ain't gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna get there on time, and then forget about if it needs to be refrigerated, right? It ain't gonna make it. So we pay a lot more, right? But the costs are now leveling up because volume and competition. FedEx and UPS getting a little pissing contest. And some people are still shopping to UPS, not understanding that there's not really a comparison because they suck so bad. But back to our point that I really believe with every fiber of my being. I was a Trump supporter. You know, I hate to say this, but the first Obama election, I actually voted for Obama.
Me too. Oh, you know what? I didn't even vote. I take that back.
I didn't even vote.
I take that back.
Well, I need to put all my.
But I was rooting for him.
I need to put all my cards on the table. I misspoke. I was pulling for him. I had not had my right to vote reinstored yet.
But you would have voted.
I was a big proponent of him because I thought that having a black president would go a long way to helping race relations in our country. And that was the only reason that I liked him. I really didn't like
I like the way he spoke. All his policies, I wasn't even really tripping.
But he's going to be a good leader.
And I thought the same thing.
He's going to be a good leader.
That's what I thought too. I was like, he speaks well.
And he did more to hurt race relations in this country than I think any president we've had since Johnson.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because he was a KKK member. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But again, it's by design. Divide and conquer, keep all those fighting amongst each other, not paying attention to what they're doing. Aside from this corruption, all the stuff that Doge is finding, right? It amazes me. Obviously, I know why all the politicians are scared because the gig could be up.
They're finding out everything.
Like if you, the two,
They know what they doing.
The two shortest life expectancies on this planet right now are Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I really believe that. I'll fire my Bible. That they are going to try to kill them.
Well, Elon was just talking about that.
Yeah, he said he needs
He has a whole security like a.
I mean, I hope not.
I hope not too. But my point is that the corruption outside of it, all the government waste, all the politicians. I posted one on my Instagram today of Obama giving a speech about government waste and how they printed all these manuals every year that no one ever read, and they spent $3 million mailing all these big manuals out, and they use as doorstops because it's on the internet. No one ever opens it up because if you wanted to look at something, it's much easier to look it on the internet than try to find it in the next. You go to the page, right? So there's nobody that can, other than the people getting an illegal kickback off the scheme, right? There's nobody that would not want to get rid of all the frivolous government waste that we've always had. It was a story 35 years ago that they spent $1 gazillion for a hammer that they made for the space shuttle. You know what I'm saying? It's the waste has always been there. So why would you not want to get rid of that? The people that are shitting the bricks are the people that, like, the gig is up. Like all it's the system's now been exposed, right? They come up with these nonprofits. They get all these funding from our tax dollars and they give it to the nonprofits, and the nonprofits funnel it back in to their friends, families, and relatives and their finance campaign. It's a paper trail that's undeniable. The last administration that we have, and again, I like common sense. Like, I don't have to begin propaganda. It's like, well, you don't know this. Let me tell you what I absolutely do know for a fact. For an absolute fact.
Right.
Biden had dementia.
Oh,
Anybody want to argue that point?
100%.
Right. You could watch him for years and see both my grandfathers had it. I know what it looks like. I know what the look on your face looks like. I know what that walk looks like. You don't know where you are. You're shitting yourself right now. Right now, you just shit your pants. I know what that looks like, right? And it was happening. So there's no way that he was running the country because he couldn't even tell you what he had for fucking breakfast that morning. I guarantee you, he could not tell you what he had for breakfast this morning.
Bro.
All right?
You know there was somebody dressing him.
I used to be like, oh my God, that's our president. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
Well, that's why Putin didn't give a fuck. That's why all the presidents from other countries didn't give a fuck. They just did whatever they want. They're not worried about this guy. With Trump, it's a completely different story.
But see, you say that, and I agree, right? But a liberal will say, well, you don't really have any data to back that up.
Right.
I got some. You ready? Prior to when Trump was in office and North Korea was testing ballistic missiles, right, which would be a direct threat to our sovereignty, right?
Yep.
He said, hey, enough of that shit. Are we coming over there? Simple as that, right? Stop the ballistic missile testing, period, right? Or we're coming to see you. And they stopped.
You know,
The second Biden got back in, started back
up. No, but how he said it was the best, though. He said, stop. That guy said, well, I've got a button. He said, I got a bigger button. You better stop, man. Don't play with me, son. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so my point is like, Trump's not a politician. He's easy to hate. He's easy to get dirt on, the mean tweets. He's not presidential. He's cocky. He's arrogant. He's not a politician.
No.
He's a CEO. He's a boss. If I'm the boss, I'm not used to having to ask someone, although I do. You know, every single one of my employees, I say please and thank you, right? But the fact is I
don't
sign
have
the checks,
to,
and every now and then I have to remind you who signs a fucking check.
Right.
Every now and then. I got to remind you when you buck on me, and I've told you to do something, and you're resistant to what I've told you to do as my employee. I have to remind you who signs a check. That's the only time, right? But we've got a dude that's a boss. And you talk about the cliches of like make America great again. He is. Never in my lifetime, and I'm a huge Ronald Reagan fan. My uncle is Jimmy Carter. I think he's one of the worst presidents that we ever had, besides Obama, or I mean, besides Biden. one of the best post-presidencies we've ever had.
Yeah.
His life post-presidency will be unparalleled.
Yeah.
He's done more to change the world post-presidency than any human being probably that will ever live. All right. So great person, great human being, not a very good leader of the country. Right. So now we have this dude that's apparently, right, from all outward appearances, trying to do exactly what the fuck he said he was going to do.
I mean,
like
it's not, he didn't pull no rabbits out of his hat.
Right.
Exactly what he said. He's actually executing.
And then when have we seen that? Never. I saw it a little bit with Reagan, but even then it was a little bit of politicians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, this dude is doing exactly what he said he's going to do as fast as he can get it done. Already, the hostages are coming home. The war in Ukraine's about to end. Gas prices are the lowest they've been in years. Egg prices from them killing all the chickens. You always wanted to point blame. Inflation is decreasing, right, at a more rapid rate than they anticipated it would decrease. We are absolutely, as a country, going in the right direction. He's ending the war. The economy's getting better. You know, the other stuff, the controversial stuff, that some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. Yeah, I love it that he said there's only two genders. Because guess what? There's only two fucking genders.
So
okay.
So in life, like when you move into a new house, right? So you got a brand new house that's empty. Yeah. Well, you got to wreck the old one to get all your new. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so in other words, the Band-Aid. He's ripping off the Band-Aid on stuff that if you don't fix it, it's gonna bleed. We're gonna bleed out. You know what I'm saying? So I never expected it to be like a light switch. First, you got to do the discovery, find out where's the hole. Okay, now we still finding new holes. So once they find the holes, now they got to try to come up with a plan to try to fix it. So at first, it's just let's go find all the messed up stuff. Yeah, and that's what they're doing.
Elon has his wizards going crazy on that, man.
And guess, like he said,
they're finding all kinds.
I'm
of
not
shit.
even saying all the stuff because they'll kill me.
Yeah,
he's saying I'm finding stuff that I can't even talk about.
Yeah. He said some of the stuff is so bad I can't even say it. Yeah, it's like so bad. You know what
again, the left thinks it's all lies, that it's all, that they're making every bit of it fucking up. That's just not common sense. If you even understand how any government entity works, there's so much waste outside of the fraud. There's so much inefficiency because it's the opposite of capitalism. It's like socialism at work. I can do as little as pack. I'm not going to get paid. I don't have to work.
We're collecting taxes and printing money.
Yeah. Well, what people don't understand is this ain't about me. I don't care if we had Democratic in America, although I'd probably move, that we become 100% socialist and we turn into China or Russia or Cuba or Canada or whatever, right? Or the most recent case, Venezuela, or the recent case in point happening right now, Australia.
What's happening in Australia?
Oh, dude, they confiscated the guns.
I thought they did that.
No. They did do that, but now that they've confiscated the guns, it's only a matter of time before the next problem that they have, and they want to implement their will onto their people.
Because you can't defend yourself.
You can't defend yourself to it. So the government now completely controls the well-being of everybody in that state because we can't defend ourselves. Well, you can tell me I can't leave the house, and I can't leave the house.
Wow.
Right? Because I can't take the gun and dare you to shoot me to go see my sick grandma. Right? Or whatever the case may be. So, you know, it's not even about me. It's about my kids and my grandkids. Our deficit, like people, it used to be a big deal, right? And again, we talk about common sense, right? Just common sense. In your house, if you have a $30,000 credit card and your credit card's maxed out, is the solution A, try to come up with a payment plan, maybe in a debt consolidation, and take a step backwards, maybe fuck up the credit a little bit. Or B, go get another credit card.
Probably go get another credit card. That's what they're doing.
Of course, that's the mentality. But you eventually that story ends, right? Eventually no one will give you a credit card. And now you can't get anything because you have no credit. And everything that you own, somebody's coming after. The country's no different, folks. Wake up. We can't keep writing blank checks. We can't keep giving everybody else money. Not even the fact that we're not taking care of ourselves. Like, the common sense to me has gotten so far away from just like, okay, take your right, left out of it. Let's just talk about, again, basic common sense. Just like
The deficit is continually growing, but our lives is not getting better. Technology is continually racing forward.
But our life expectancy is getting shorter.
And we're spending more money for the shit that's been around for 40 years.
My problem is
something that's been around for 40 years more expensive.
My problem is
so everything's supposed to get cheaper.
I went on my honeymoon to Hawaii, and I made it a point to go tour and talk to some people on Lahaina, where supposedly the lasers burned up the city and all this shit. Big conspiracy theory. Something that outrageous. I need to go see for myself, right? Because no telling what the media says. They'll put anything on the internet. When I want to talk to the people that were there, and everything that I had been told was the truth. They turned off the water. They blocked the main road where you couldn't leave the island.
What?
And they burned it with a laser. What? They caught everything on fire. And literally, like the line in this table, all the rich people that live right here,
Nothing.
their houses weren't touched. All the poor people that lives away, none of it made it.
Wasn't it the like blue roofs or something like that? Yeah.
So some of the rich elites,
like Oprah and all
close
them.
to that line, the ones on the farther side of the line,
nothing.
they weren't worried about, right? But the ones that live close to the line, they painted their roofs that funky blue.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a specific color blue that you can't
The laser doesn't
pick
react
up.
to. And so, look, I talked to people there.
Yeah.
This isn't speculation.
I got a
This isn't
friend
somebody
that lives there. He
right?
called
So,
me like, the water was on fire.
yeah. So I asked this little server.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
Yeah. I asked this little server. I'm like, you're from here? Yeah, we lost everything. I'm like, I know you probably don't want to talk about it, but just between you and me, I'm not a reporter. I'm not.
I'm here on my honeymoon.
I'm here on my honeymoon with my wife, but you just hear a lot of stuff, right? What happened? She says, oh yeah, they burned us out. I mean, it was not even like we think. Like I'm like, tell me your experience. She says, well, I was working right here in this restaurant, right, and fire started popping up everywhere. It wasn't like a fire started right here and spread. It was a fire over there, and all of a sudden there's a fire over there, and all of a sudden there's a fire over there. Like there's multiple fires. We thought someone was arson running around with a gas can starting all these fires. She says, then we went to put out the fires, the water's turned off. Oh, wow. So it's obvious that this place is out of control. We get in our cars, and the road's closed, and the police are stopping us from going around their roadblock. What? To leave the island. I said, what'd you do? She says, I did what the only people that lived did. I'm like, what was that? She says,
the beach.
No, I got in the water.
Yeah.
I'm like, for how long? She says, some people were longer than me, but I was in the water for 11 hours.
What? Fuck.
That's what my boy told me.
That's crazy,
Like,
bro.
So she showed me pictures from her phone, right? All the blue things that did not get burned, right? The first one was the restaurant that she worked at had these blue umbrellas. Everything around it burned to crisp. Blue umbrellas looked like they were brand new, never touched.
Wow.
Right? Then the cars. Now, keep in mind, I'm no firefighter. I'm no fire expert. I know it needs, fuel and oxygen. I know the basic physics of what fire is.
Right.
But I also know that it takes a special kind of heat to melt a guardrail, right? Which has got a higher melting point than glass, but glass has got a really high melting point too. That's when people freebase cocaine out of a glass pipe. You can hit it with a blue fucking torch. It's not going to fucking melt, right?
Yeah.
So to see that these things, these guardrails on the street
Melted.
and these glass just melted like fucking into a puddle.
Wow.
Dude, that wasn't a forest fire.
No, that doesn't do it. You can't. It doesn't burn hot enough.
A forest fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I digress. Doing COVID, it used to keep me up at night, carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. It was obvious what was going on. I knew the vaccines were bad. I tried to tell everybody. I had family members calling me crazy, not wanting to talk to me. It's making me really upset because I knew it was bad, right? I knew it. I didn't know it was going to be this bad, right? But I knew it was bad. I just knew it was bad.
Yeah.
Everything we were seeing, and now it's coming out worse than we could have ever possibly fucking imagined, right?
Yeah.
And so, most countries are already suing them, right? And even common sense United States countries, although Big Pharma runs the world, right? So they didn't want RFK to be the health guy, right? it would keep me up at night. And I've gotten better about that because I've got a really good life. I've got a really good wife. I can't let things that I can't control affect my emotional state. Number one. Number two, and they go together, my faith in God, I just got to realize that he's got me and the people that I care about, regardless of what's coming down the pipe, right? And I do believe that. It's not I have to believe or I want to believe or I need to believe. My life experience, we talked about it before on the podcast. God was always with me. So that has helped me tremendously. Like, okay, God, but I still find it necessary to try to have conversation with people. Most of the even most extreme liberal people that will have a sit down, you're a racist, you're a Nazi, you're a homophobe, conversation.
Right.
We agree on almost everything we talk about. Right? They're not any more extreme left than I am extreme right. They call me extreme right because I want to keep my guns and I want to keep the government in my life and pay as little taxes as I possibly can. Right?
Yeah, well,
so that's extreme.
Up for
right?
That.
Yeah. But we're people that have the same issues and the same concerns, and people vote for the things that they think are most important to them. It's just there's such a Ronald Reagan said it best. He says, it aren't that Democrats lie. It's just they believe so many things that aren't true. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's things conservatives too. This isn't a one-way street. Right? But it's just, it's saddening because I do want to have the conversations and I do want to try to get people to wake up. Yeah. And one of the things that I love is people that I see waking up the most quickly right now, black men.
Yeah, I mean this time around, man.
This young black men, they get it, dude. They're like, yo, my life was better under the last administration.
I mean,
my business was better.
That's just a simple question to ask.
Yeah.
Was it?
How was your life?
I don't really know what happened, but it was just better. Not every aspect, but from late 17 till 2020. I mean, everything was flowing, bro.
You never heard complaints. You know what I mean?
Everything was just
people
flowing.
were just like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Dude,
now it's
the data here again. These are hard facts. These are undeniable. You can look at the stats.
Google it up. Yeah.
So black, and I'm talking about just about blacks, because everybody makes everything about race, right? And they condition blacks, they have to vote Democrat. Yeah. When the party of the slavery never changed, they implemented policies to keep you slaves. Yeah. Like they literally did. Yeah. Like there wasn't a single Democrat.
They just changed the name.
Yeah, they said there was a flip-flop of the parties. There never was. Johnson was the biggest racist president. Not a single Democrat pays for the Civil Rights Act. That's doing my lifetime. Yeah. That's doing while I'm alive, right? And now you're telling me that all of a sudden that the Republicans are the bad guys, right? It's the same with women right now. Oh, let's wear pink. Man, every single one of you voted against men playing in women's sports. Come on now. You're not pro-women. You're pro-divisive. You just want any issue, LGBTQ, let's add 5 more letters to it.
Wow. LMNP.
Yeah. And get everybody divisive. So it's encouraging on one hand that we're going in the right direction, right? Because I really believe that we are. Man, look, I've never in my lifetime been so excited about shit going on in politics. Like, I'm like, oh my God.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, dude, it's like
I mean, I guess this, as you get older, you start paying attention to different things.
I think it's more than that. I think that we have not just a generational commander-in-chief right now. I think that it came at a time, and people are going to say this is like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, or the little boy who cries wolf. I really think he saved our country. If we'd have got another term
4 years
or
of
two,
that,
another term or
we'd
two,
we'd be moving.
Another term of 2 of where we were going and what they were doing and what they were allowing to happen. Like at some point in time, there's a point of no return, right? Yeah. And look, politically, pendulum swings just like this in life, right? It swings left and right, and there's a point of correction. It might swing far to the left, and it might swing back far to the right. But when Obama pulled it way over here, for what historically had been so far to the left, what do you think happened?
Yep. Swung hard.
Yes, it swung hard the other direction. And I guess the thing that frustrates me, I'm not going to name you, but I have someone who I have a high respect for. Not only very educated, but very successful. And he, HBCU, and he's involved in all the Black Greek organizations. And he's I get maybe, and I'm speculating here, he's a employee in the corporate world, not a business owner. I think that might have something to do with the way he looks at things sometimes, because it is a factor, right? Because I'm an employee, whether he's a boss, but he has a boss, right?
He's not the boss,
right? And I have a lot of respect for him. He's real active in the community, and he's just a good guy, and like we get along and support each other, although our views are completely polar opposite. And I'm not going to stop supporting him because I think that some of the things he believes aren't true. Right. But it is disheartening. Give me an example. He made a really big deal, being from Atlanta, Georgia, about when the CDC was letting all those people go. Technically, they let 40 people go out of hundreds, but they let 40 people go. And so I'm not going to jump on his page, you know what I'm saying, and get in an argument. I'm not going to post shit on his page about my beliefs and start, getting in a pissing contest on his post. I think that's tasteless, right? If there was an open forum discussion, or if he posted on my page and we wanted to have a discussion about it, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, of course.
But I created another post that I've just posted on my Facebook and my Instagram. And I told the story in the post, true story, about my dear friend. I'll name his name because I think he might be the next black senator from Georgia, Philip Blow. Hey, Philip. His girlfriend at the time, who will remain nameless, worked at the CDC. She came to a patient in my clinic. And I had just met this woman. I'd seen her out once before. And she's just talking about her stress at work and why she's here. And this woman starts bawling in my office, and I'm like, tissue, like, what's going on? Like, you and Philip having problems? Like, what's going on? She says, no. She says, I've been with the CDC for 20 years. She says, we know for an absolute fact that this vaccine is harmful. She didn't say killing people like it is, harmful. And we know this. And he says, not only are we still encouraging people to take it, but my job in procurement is to go out and get more funding to promote this vaccine. She says, I can't leave them right now because I can't get a job right now making this kind of money or even close anywhere. But she says, I just am having a harder time keeping a straight face when I call these people and tell them to give me money to try to encourage people to get the vaccine when I know that it's causing harm. So my point is, you're upset, like the media says, oh my God, it's Atlanta, you just laid off 40 people. Well, first off, I'm sure that there was excess, like in any other government business, that needed to trim the fat. But more importantly, these are the same people that lied to you, your face, that hid data and made up data on deaths, completely fabricated data on deaths.
That's the worst part, is the made up part.
The made up data to create the fear and hysteria, made up data on death. Dying of COVID and dying with COVID are two different things. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Much you'd have to get the data outside the United States, but I'm pretty sure the vaccine killed more people than the disease.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, pretty damn sure. So let's not forget, as you pity those 40 people that worked at the CDC, what their real job function was, that's just to spread poison amongst us.
Right. Knowingly.
And they were getting paid for it.
And get paid for it. So knowingly. So, and that's just one example. But again, he's posting these things that he's very passionate about. And I'm sure he really believes that this is a bad thing. But it's very hard, and he would probably be, and I hope to, he would be one I could sit down and have a discussion, and we talk about differences, and maybe we find a lot of common ground, and some things we wouldn't find common ground on. I think one of the things we wouldn't is everyone's talking about, they're indoctrinating our youth by convincing people America's bad. They don't want patriotism, right? Because they want change into something different. Relinquish control. Give me all the power. I'll keep you safe, and I'll keep you from being hungry. And
they want that leash on you.
Yeah. one of the things I can't stand about them always talking about reparations for slavery and like slavery, less than 2% of the population at that time owned slaves. Mm-hmm. There were thousands of blacks that owned black slaves right here in this country.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So who gets the reparations and who has to pay the reparations? Do I have to pay reparations? Let's pretend hypothetically that one of my ancestors actually owned slaves, which is possible. I'm related to Dutch and early English and Dutch settlers, right? Possible, maybe even probable, because one of them was in the South. So it's possible. Do I have to pay for something that happened 200 something years ago that I didn't have anything to do with? Number one. Number two, who gets the money and how much? Do my kids get money because they're black? Because society will call my kids black, whether they're 5% or whether they're 95%, right? It's just not a practical solution, but it's a really political hot button topic to talk about. When if you educate people on world history, right? Slavery was horrible. Doing that to one human being to another, there's nothing you can say that inherently that a common sense again, that a human being, regardless of where you came from, what your religious belief is, knows that that's wrong.
Right.
Any more than mistreating another human being under any circumstances, or probably a poor analogy, but any more than mistreating an animal. You know what I'm saying? Like you just know that these things are wrong, right?
Yep.
But if you study the history of the world, right?
It was normal.
Up until that point in time, right? Yeah. Everybody had slaves, number one. Number two, if you're going to talk about reparations, if you really follow the money, and Thomas C. Howell, is that his name? Professor? He did a bunch of research on this, so you can Google the stats. The current day wealth most generated by slavery was blacks that sold other blacks to white slave traders in Africa. Those people currently living in Africa are the ones that have most of the money still, other than the tobacco farmers in the Carolinas. Those two industries, right? Wow. Are the people that, so do we go over there and get money for them for reparations? All right. Do you know where the word slave comes from? Slavery, slave. Do you know where the word originated?
Slavic.
The white Slavic slaves. They were white people that were enslaved by other
white people.
People.
Yeah. When you know, like if you go back to the Hebrews in Egypt and all that, the bondage was, this is all I have. It was no capitalism.
No.
So in other words, in order for you to be housed and fed, and all that, so you basically was working. You was an indentured servant. Basically.
Yeah. Well, so to me, they're almost the same thing, right? They're very similar. Frankly, same thing. There's a severity. I can't compare an indentured servant that was. I hate to use cliches, but the house end compared to the field, right? Right. But an indentured servant is basically the same thing. You can't compare it to the people that's getting whipped and got their nuts cut off and women's rape.
Well, but I think a lot of that is what they showed us. Not that it didn't exist. I'm saying they showed us that. To paint the overall picture. No. But that was like isolated type situation.
No, again, if you study world history, right? World history. Don't say America's a bad country because we had this. We had this, so did everybody else.
It was everywhere.
Guess what we were the first ones to have?
To end it.
Right. More importantly than that, to have a fucking a free society with a constitution where we had a democratic republic. It was an experiment that had never been tried. It had always been in history. Every ruler was a king or a dictator, monarch, right? A monarch, a deity. It was an experiment that, for the most part, worked. Certainly, they teach our founding fathers, oh my God, he's a bad person. He had slaves. Doesn't make him a bad person. He probably had bad judgment on some things, and if you take them outside of the context, right? If you put them in the context, they were fucking geniuses. They wrote shit foreseeing problems that we would have 150 years in the fucking future. That's genius to me.
That is.
And they did that based on their own oppressed. they were oppressed too, right? People don't understand. Like, yes, these blacks were oppressed to a much harsher degree, but it was the oppression of the whites that left England that founded our country. And so I just, again, I hate that everything's about race, but just like we talked about, why does no one talk about the number one leading cause of death for blacks between 18 and 25 when you're talking about the one cop that shot a black guy, right? No one's talking about the slaves that we have right now today.
The debt slaves. That's what the whole country is.
No, I'm talking about the real actual slaves.
Oh, you're talking about actual slavery right now? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Somalia and all these other countries where people are still slave, like just like you see on the most extreme cases slaves that we had 200 years ago. It's going on right now, but y'all aren't talking about helping them because it doesn't fit your narrative and your cause. Your cause isn't to help anybody. It's just to divide us. So again, I can't carry the weight of the world anymore of these things, but I am passionate about it because I want the world to be a better place for my kids than it was for me. And as a general rule, that happens is in the evolution of mankind, right? But just like the cliche, and I don't know who said it, you know, what is it? Good times create
weak men.
Weak men. You know, weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Right? It's the cycle. It's the cycle. Right? And that's so true. Even like in a generational. Right? It says so much to me that when you look at, and we're talking about Trump, and again, very unpolitical. Right? Very, very non-political. But man, you look at all of his kids on how they move. That's hard, dude. I can't even imagine. I wouldn't have been because I wasn't. You give me a fucking credit card and a bunch of money when I'm young, I promise you I'm fucking up.
Endless money.
Yeah, and I promise you I'm gonna fuck up. So I don't judge Hunter Biden.
No.
Right? At all.
That was normal.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been average behavior. So this isn't a holier than thou or judgmental, but it says a lot about a man's true character, right? They're a reflection of your kids. And I've just talked to my sister about it. You could do all the right things and have a bad egg. Here I am, raised by two of the best sets of grandparents in the world, right? And I was the bad egg. So part of it is a lucky draw, but as a general rule, you raise them right, they act right. And that's been my experience of life and seeing the other people. And it's just, again, it's you know, my son, should God give me one, which is on the to-do list this year, by the way, guys. That's our number one.
Get her done. I can't wait to be
Let's go, baby.
You know,
that kid's gonna have all kinds of uncles back in him.
I'm gonna try to do it just like my granddad did, because he damn near did it perfect. Just because I didn't come out that way wasn't any lack of parenting on his part.
Yeah, but that's why you came back around to who you are now.
Probably God and some other reasons, but I agree.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you recognize it now. You appreciate and respect it.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, man, that's what the ass whooping was about.
Like all those ass whoopings that added up to this. Okay, I got you.
So I had to save up money for my first car. And he matched as much money as I saved. And I saved $2,500. Started saving when I was 14. And right before my 16th birthday, I wanted a Trans Am or a Camaro. And he, like, no sports car. But I got a damn near brand new Buick Regal. And it was a nicer than most kids had at 16. It was a nice fucking luxury fucking sedan.
Regal was
right?
back then.
Yeah, it was. Right. Well, the females in my family, they just got a car at Christmas on their 16th birthday. They might have had to wait. You turned 16 in the summer, but by Christmas, you had one under the Christmas tree, right? And I'll probably do the same way. I'll probably let my daughter live at home until she's 35 if she wanted to. She got married. But my son, when he's 18, he's either paying rent, right? Just
responsibility.
Not that I need it, but he might even be paying rent into his own trust fund. He just doesn't know it.
That is a great idea.
Like, it's not you're going to spend the money.
And then when they finally move out, here you go. That's for your down payment.
Hey, all the rent?
Later. No, that's too early. 25 or when you get married, that's your money.
All your rent. Here's all your rent money.
It's not misogynistic because women and men are different.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It is our job to be the leader, protector, provider. We talked about it before. So I need to instill those values in my son. My job with my daughter is to teach her how she should be treated by a man. I can't teach her about how to be a woman. That comes from mom. Any more than mom could teach my son how to be a man.
You know, that's one of the downsides.
Oh, dude.
But that's one of the downsides of so many single moms now, because they have to play both roles. Yeah. Right, so they have to pick up and do something that they don't know how to do because they never, you know what I mean? They're
not even their job, bro.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that it's not their job, but they don't even know how to do the job.
Yeah.
Listen,
so they're
we
winging
mentioned
it
it before. Again, it's by design. Planned Parenthood, and you can study this shit. This is why the ignorance drives me crazy. When people talk about abortion, right? I was still, if I had to choose between being pro-life and pro-choice, I'd can call myself pro-choice because I think if you found out that you're 4 weeks pregnant and you kill that clump of cells, it's not murder, right? But I definitely think at some point in time that we could have the debate as to where that is, but there's definitely a line, right? There's definitely a line somewhere in that 3, 4, 5, 6 month period, right? Where now this is a human life. It's got a heartbeat. Yeah. It can communicate. It has emotions. It laughs. It cries. It has a soul already.
It eats. It poops.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
So, and again, a little bit biased because I was premature. I was at 7 months. So, telling somebody they can have an abortion at 7 months is fucking murder because it was me. I was 7 months.
7 months, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So
Antonio was 6 weeks early. Yeah.
So just the thought that that you can that abortion is of course such a big issue and they make it a hot button issue and they make it a divisive issue. When if you study Planned Parenthood, who funds and encourages abortions, it was created.
Thanks, Bill Gates.
It was the lady that created Planned Parenthood specifically did it to keep the black population down, right? That's why they did it.
That was the purpose.
That was their purpose of creating this thing. And so now, it's funny when we talked about the black men, so many black men awakening. And some black females, like I got a friend, Chanel, hey, Denia, super educated from West Palm, got all these great stories that prove Trump isn't a racist that she saw firsthand because she lived there and her parents knew him and worked around him, right? Just many, many, many examples of things that, in my opinion, are way more proof that he's not a racist than any proof that you've ever shown me that he is.
All you had to do is be alive in the 80s and 90s to know that he ain't.
That he ain't, right. Yeah, that just all got swept under the rug, right?
Ask Mike Tyson if Trump
Mike Tyson, Jennifer Floyd, Nelson Mandela.
But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like Mike was like,
I mean, all these people.
Like all these people he helped, man.
So anyway, it's just disheartening and to see educated people be so wrong on things that really affect their life even more than mine, but they're going to affect my children's lives, right?
And all they had to do was confirm before they decided to believe.
They don't even take the time to do that.
But the craziest part is like the problem with so many educated black females, they're still so butthurt that we didn't elect a black female president who by far was the most unqualified president we've ever had in our life.
She don't, I don't even.
No, but I'm telling you, and their mind,
brother, breathe.
What they are saying to me, I have conversations. This isn't something I read on the internet. What they are saying to me and to each other when they talk is, even the black men that have become woke and conservative, just didn't want a black female president because she was a black female. Wow. That just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Did you hear her talk at all?
At all.
At any time? Not even for the debate, like the 4 years that she was there. Did you, any time that she spoke, you're just like, is this real? Is this real right now?
I'm just like, okay. All right, I'm gonna give her a chance. You ask her a simple question. I'm just
she gets words out. Look, so never in my lifetime did I think this is absolutely communist China and Russia that we're living in the media right now. For them to completely doctor the 60 Minutes interview at election time to make it seem like she had the politically correct answers to the questions. Dude, that is election manipulation at its purest
Nobody
form.
said shit, though. Huh?
Of course, nobody said shit.
Nobody said shit.
Nobody said shit.
Yeah.
They're suing them. They're probably going to win a lawsuit. I'm hoping that these people keep suing the shit out of them. But it's not going to change them because they have unlimited money.
Right.
So
It's just going to keep going to the end of time.
yeah, they'll just
I'll appeal it. I'll appeal it.
No, and I'll just pay it because it was the price that I paid in the lawsuit was worth the gamble, because had I done that for her and she won the election, I'd have
I'd be
big
golden.
shit.
Yeah.
I have power over her.
Yeah.
And my only, we talk about things that Trump does I like. Some of the things that I'm disappointed thus far, and they're for you. I'm disappointed that he didn't get to those fucking Epstein files. Right.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
And so who knows what the truth is? You know,
It's got to be bad, though.
The media on the right's spin is that these FBI people were shredding and purging files before they could get over there, which is possible. I think it's deeper than that. I think somewhere along the line, there's somebody on that list that still has so much power over somebody somewhere. But the whole thing was a CIA op, right? It wasn't this Jeffrey Epstein became brilliant and decided he'd blackmail all these people.
Exactly.
He was not that smart, right?
He's the white Diddy.
Yes, he absolutely is the white Diddy, because Diddy was just Epstein's replacement. If you look at the timeline, of what's
they're both
going
doing
on,
the same shit. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what they're for.
That's what they're for. The purpose. One of the oldest spy tricks before we even had a country was the honeypot, right? You get some girl to either get some dirt on him.
Got all his
bitches. Yeah.
You either get some girl, because a lot of men will still do anything for some kitty, right?
Yep.
And either you compromise them with this situation, or you take pictures of them, or you look.
CIA's done that before when they were giving people LSD.
Everyone.
Remember when they were giving LSD? And then they were having, they were going to these brothels because they were testing the drug out.
Yeah.
And they were telling the prostitutes to give it to them, and they were guinea pigs to, I'm like, what the fuck?
Before my grandfather was promoted to general, and he retired as a full bird colonel because he didn't hold the rank of general long enough to retire to general pay. But I have a cigar box, which is now my watch collection box. It says General Richard M. Jones, and he kept that in the basement because he didn't retire as that. He doesn't let anybody call him that. He's actually a colonel. He was a general, right? But he didn't hold that rank.
But he doesn't call himself that?
No.
He's proud. He's a proud man.
Yeah, he's a colonel.
Yeah.
Got whatever,
That's
right?
cool.
Yeah.
It's called integrity.
Yeah, integrity.
Yeah.
So I asked him one time about this other general that was a friend of his that was higher up and was a little bit younger than him. And so I asked him, it's a true story. I said, why did he retire? He goes, well, he was forced out. And I said, why was he forced out? And he goes, well, he made some calls in the Gulf War that were questionable to people that don't understand war, right? And even if I would have asked him, Granddad never really talked about that kind of stuff. I mean, he was an NSA colonel, which is like the military version of the CIA. He was just national security shit, dealt with the big shit, right? Yeah.
He was the man next to the button.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So I'm like, well, why did he retire young? He was like, he was forced out. And I'm like, did he get court-martialed? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
He goes, no. He says, they wanted him to resign, and he said he wouldn't have resigned, and they did some things to him to make him have a change of heart.
Wow.
And I said, did they torture him? Because that would be a possibility, right? We'll just we'll send our guys over there and start cutting off toenails till you sign the piece of paper saying I resign, right? He said, no, they compromised him sexually.
Oh, wow.
And I said, oh, wow, they honeypot? Because even then I knew what a honeypot was.
Yeah.
They honeypotted him. And he goes, not really. He says that's what he thought it was, but they drugged him and replaced the honeypot with a pig.
Oh.
And filmed it.
Oh.
Wow.
And he was on the recipient end
Oh, wow.
of the hog.
Wow. That's a whole nother level, man.
Yeah.
Like they were like, we're gonna do this just one time and just do it to the max. Wow.
So here's this video we have of you. I know you don't remember of it, but this is you getting fucked by a hog. So would you like the whole world to see this, or would you like to resign now?
Yeah. And don't forget, we still have this.
Yeah.
And they went to the level that they knew that was required to get him to fold.
That's like a super gangster.
He was like, damn.
Because he
was like, I'll sign whatever you want, man.
He's so much like my granddad. This was his good friend, right? I guarantee you that if they would confront us with just some girl, he's like, damn, I hate that I lost my wife by making a stupid decision, but no, I'm not going to resign. My country means that much to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
they
now,
took it to the level
right,
that they...
You can't even...
Now, do you think I want my daughter to see me get fucked by a hog?
Yeah.
On video?
Yeah. Wow, bro, that's
deep.
That's a whole different.
That's gonna be
no pun intended.
What's the podcast guy?
Right.
I hate to pump up another podcast.
No, pump him up, man. We pump up all the time.
What's the guy that's gotten really popular?
Sean Ryan?
Yeah. He does all the military
Sean's
guys.
off the chain. I love
Dude,
Sean was with the CIA for a long time. Mm-hmm. He was
That's long hair?
No. He's got his shaved head.
He almost only interviews militaries.
He had the last video on the last podcast when we pulled it up and the guy was talking about how our kids are being run by the government.
Yeah.
That guy.
Okay.
So,
dude, his guess, because it's all military shit, right?
Yeah.
And these are all
special operators, Delta.
Real deal dudes.
Yeah.
These are like, because he was one, so he knows the real deal from the not.
Yeah.
And listen to some of the shit that those guys say about the way that it really is in the world out there. Yep. I mean, I got the kid I told you about that's got really bad PTSD, and he doesn't really talk about it much, but I treat a lot of vets with PTSD in the clinic, and I'm able to help them get them off the narcotics that the VA has them on. And the VA don't want to give them no testosterone anyway.
Hell no.
But that podcast where they talk about some of the shit that they do, what made me think about it right now was they asked this guy who had seen some shit, like 4 tours, right? So you've been in the book, you've seen some fucking horrible fucking shit. You've wiped your best friend's body parts off of you, right? And they asked him, for him, what was the most traumatic thing that he'd ever seen? And he said they were squatting in a drug house. And I don't know if it was an opium den or whatever, wherever they were, but it was the Middle Eastern version of a dope trap. Okay. Right? And the dope, they were in the trap, right? Okay. Hiding, right? And he said that the runner of the dope house would charge people not only to come in and sit and use drugs like a normal trap house, but he would put on sex shows where he made the female junkies do whatever, right? And they were junkies. And they were going to do whatever.
Yeah, of course.
And Sean kind of made a joke and says, so that was like, free kitty. And, he says, it wasn't free, you had to pay, right? And he says, well, I'm a little confused. That's the most traumatic thing you saw? He goes, no. He says, the most popular show that had multiple girls that would participate was they would bring in this really big dog, and the girls would let the dog fuck them for dope. Wow. So it made me...
That's rough, man.
We talked about how desensitized people get when they've seen shit. And I talked about how I felt bad that I didn't feel worse in New Orleans around all the dead people. I guess because I grew up around that kind of stuff.
Right.
It was shocked to me that bothered him more than anything else. Because I don't think if I was in his shoes and have seen all the shit that I'd seen, that would even rank in my memory. Because if I'd have walked into one of my dope traps years ago and that was happening, I would have gone, oh, wow, but I wouldn't even have been surprised.
You would have been like, what the fuck?
So they were hiding like in the ceiling or whatever?
No. They had kind of taken over the house to shelter in. Like, hey, you do your thing. You keep business operating so it doesn't look like anything's going on.
So they were hiding out in the house.
They were uninvited guests of the house.
Wow.
But they can't do nothing about it because they'll just kill everybody.
Well, no, I get it now. I'm just I thought maybe they were like in the ceiling and just
no. They were sheltered in this house in this dope trap.
Yeah, the PTSD stuff is real, man. I mean, I've had PTSD my entire life because I was born in the war, right? So my sister's got PTSD. When there's thunderstorms, she calls me, hey, are you in the basement? I'm like, No, I'm good. There's no, you know what I mean?
Wow.
But because she was, she's 6 years younger than me. So she was like a baby when that was going on.
Isn't it weird how, first of all, a lot of people have misconceptions of what PTSD. It comes in many shapes, sizes, and forms. It can have various causes, right? A lot of people think that, especially when they're in Vietnam, when in World War II, they called it shell shock, right?
Yeah,
which was just what they called PTSD back then. They called it shell shock.
That was the name for it.
Like hyperactive is 88.
Yeah, they didn't have they have a name for it.
Yeah.
And then they would shame the people in Vietnam that would
come home shell shock. Yep.
Yeah, because all the shit that I'm fucking, my best friend I just pulled his body parts off of me. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would do to me.
Yeah, I had a friend who was in Tet Offensive. He was my drill sergeant when I was on the drill team. Man, he used to blow our mind. I was just like, whoa.
A lot of those guys that are really in it, most of them, a lot of them don't talk about it. But my point is like, it can have different causes, different degrees. Like I told you how bad my buddy's was. He has these waking visions that all the people that he killed hand to hand up close are coming back to get him. And he's awake and he really believes and sees this shit. And who's to say that
He's not?
Not. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, because think of where you got to be spiritually to do that.
Correct.
So you probably do have,
But
You get numb though, man. I remember after my first deployment, the second deployment I went on, I was not human.
Wow.
Like the first one, I didn't even know what I was getting into. I got contracted. We went out and I saw shit that I can't even like make up. It was so bad. Because there's parts of the world that you go to and it's so bad that even on the news stations here, they couldn't show it.
Of course. The macho, egotistical part of me, right, says, although I'm the only male member of my family not served, like haven't done a day in a forward area. I haven't seen any of that shit. I have my story that we've told. I've been shot, I've been stabbed, been through some shit. Yeah. But I have a tiny bit of it, and again, very humbly to admit, right? I have a tiny bit of it from prison.
Yeah.
PTSD.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and it's weird because I didn't really realize it until I had been home for a while, right? The first thing that was the aha moment is when I moved out of my sister's basement, I got this luxury apartment over at the Highlands at West Village. Double master, overlooking the city, like it super nice. Mm-hmm. And I'd been in a box for a while. I didn't need all that, but damn it, I didn't want something nice.
Right.
And when I first started dating Risha, my ex, we'd been together for a while. And we got back, and I just walk up the door, and I get home, I open the door, and walk in, and she goes, "You didn't lock your door?" I'm like, "No." She didn't say nothing about it. Then after like the third time of us coming home, and us being in home, right, and going to bed, and like she'll get up and lock the door. I never, ever, ever did. Mm-hmm. I would never lock the door because I couldn't stand the sound of that bullet.
Oh, clicking. The sound of the bolt.
I wouldn't do it when I left or when I was home. I never, ever locked the door. I never locked my door, whether I was home or whether I was not home.
Wow.
I never once locked
That's PTSD, bro.
It is.
Yeah.
But I never connected the dots. Yeah. It was completely subconscious. Wow. It wasn't like I made a conscious decision, I'm not going to lock my door because I don't like that sound.
Right.
I'll tell you.
That's deep.
I mean, I get that because even when if I'm cleaning my weapons, there's moments where I have to sit down and I have to just, sit back. I only do that kind of shit when I'm by myself. I don't do it in front of anybody. I literally will take the gun apart, I'll put it down, and I'll just, and then pick it up and clean it out and all that stuff. It's the same thing when I go to the range. Like before I even leave the house to go to the range, I have this thing I have to do to, I don't know, calm myself, whatever it is, to get myself centered, that I'm not going to war, I'm going to the range.
You know what's so weird? I can watch like any movie about prison, and it's Hollywood.
100%.
It doesn't bother me. But any kind of documentary at all, like the National Geographic series of Locked Up Abroad, or anything that's got real pictures of real prisons inside, watch it. Can't watch it. It wigs me the fuck out. I bet. And I have to change the channel. Like I've compartmentalized that part. Yeah. I've compartmentalized that one. I don't want to go backwards. Right?
Yeah.
And revisit it.
Yeah. That's 100%. I'd never talk about any of the deployments because I just don't even want to. I don't want to go there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'll tell you this: we were talking about slavery. One of the deployments we went on was to Africa. I believe it was West Africa. And it was the reason we went there was because there was a warlord. Okay. You can just say that. It's all good. It's all good. Nick has to piss. That's what the message says. But
I didn't know how we were doing on time.
Yeah,
I didn't want to repeat.
I don't know. How we doing on time? Oh, we got 16? That's all. We can take a quick break and then come back.
That's the actual time.
Yeah, stop. Pause.
We're at hour 43.
All right, so let's do like 5 more minutes and then we're done.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So one of those deployments was to Africa, and then the reason we went there was because there was a warlord that was selling slaves, and he took over this village.
Wow.
And he was selling kids, women,
Wow.
old, like their grandfathers and shit. He was just selling everybody. So we had to go in there and stop it. That was one of our deployments. So shit you see with your own eyes, people can't tell you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't tell me like,
I haven't done enough research to know the real data,
yeah.
but there is very much speculation that human trafficking is now a larger industry than the narcotics business. Get your head wrapped around that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the narcotics businesses put together, the cartels make more money from selling women and children than they do from selling cocaine and heroin.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a crazy number. Let's leave on a good note.
Okay.
You got something happy to say?
I got some gifts.
Oh,
Yeah,
gifts.
take the
All
gift.
right.
Brought them for everybody.
We got gifts, Chase.
Yeah, so these are new.
Oh, I love it, man.
I got
I need a medium.
I got large and 2X. We're already out of XL. There.
Yeah, large is
Large
good.
is
Large
I
is
got
good.
plenty of them.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
like mine.
how many locations you have now, bro?
Just sold Athens. We have Alpharetta and we have Atlanta.
Okay, cool.
Oh, you sold Athens. Cool.
Yeah, we got to
So,
get people over to Alpharetta.
SellTechMD.com. I don't come on here to talk about.
No, but
I
we-
didn't come up there to do it.
No, but you know how we do it. We
I get it, I get it.
to help
Tech and-
family out.
Business in Atlanta's good. Alpharetta's new, so still
Yeah,
growing.
let's show some support for Alpharetta, right? Go up there and see
If you're
Alpharetta.
Alpharetta, go see Alpharetta.
Yeah, for
Go
sure.
tell Sean, tell him, touch you. Seriously, I mean, when I got in the industry, there weren't many of these things.
Yeah.
And we had the discussion. I kind of decided if the money didn't matter, which it does, what's
Yeah.
my passion? And my med spas are my passions. And
Yeah.
the testosterone hormone
Yeah.
placement, I love doing that.
Yeah.
Right? I have other businesses that make me more money.
Yeah.
But it's still my passion. It's still where I have my office every
It's a happy
morning.
time.
It's my happy time.
Yeah.
But as the industry's grown, the level of care, especially from these $99 a month testosterone,
Oh, yeah.
everybody gets hit with the same dosage. There's no monitoring. They test the bare minimum to stay. They test your testosterone and your estradiol and write you a script. They don't, and so I kind of pride myself. I always have, but look, one of my doctors, Dr. Stephen Lascala, he's one of the baddest hormone doctors on the face of the planet, and I'll put him up against everybody. If he's not with a patient, he's single, his kids are grown. He's studying in the ever-changing world of science. He's got a book in his nose. He's a huge Georgia Bulldog football fan, and if he's in the middle of a textbook at kickoff time, he don't turn on TV.
Yeah.
Right? This is more important than the football game, which it blows my mind.
It's like, how he does that?
But my point is like we do really pride ourselves on privatized, individualized wellness, a program tailored just for you, because you could have a twin brother that's your biological identical twin, but your treatment might be completely different. Your goals might be different. Your lifestyle up to now has been different.
Genetics,
your lifestyle today.
yeah, everything.
Well, even if you were genetically a clone.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you're talking about if
Like
it was a clone.
Tony talks about, you're not the same being that
Yeah.
you were when you were born.
Oh, yeah.
You're not biophysically the same, so your treatment is probably going to be different than your brother. So we pride ourselves on that. But I don't want to ever end the recording without telling you guys, like, this podcast is fucking. It's gonna take off. And I'm not talking about this specific episode, but the things that we talk about, right?
Yeah.
There's a need, because we can be transparent and we can talk about our flaws and the things that we struggle with as men. We didn't really do that on this episode, but we share the same problems, and we're all humble enough to say, yo, this is a problem that I have.
Yeah.
What are your suggestions? Or more importantly, this is a problem that I've solved.
Yep.
As another alpha male, if you're struggling with these issues, this is how we addressed it. And your solution and my solution might not be the same, but the more we're together, the more we realize it has been the same solution.
It's all the same.
I'm the type that, like, if I don't know, let me get back with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, in other words, I know somebody I can call to get the data and
Yeah.
information. And that's this whole network, this whole collaboration that we all do the same thing. That's what
That's what I'm doing right now on that other topic. So I'm not gonna spill the beans, but there's there's all these crazy things about out there in the world and the universe that we don't know. Are there aliens? You know? Who shot JFK? Like all these things, right?
But did you see the video of the driver turning around shooting?
Yeah, that's what I think happened.
Well, I saw the video.
It's a video, man.
He just said, wow. I'm just like,
that's what we
how
always
did we miss
thought.
that?
Yeah.
Because they say you saw exactly what they wanted you to see.
That's and then people be like, no, why would they lie? I'm just like
why
we
would
care
you not?
why they lied.
Hold on. Let me
did
answer that question with a question because I love doing that. Why do you think the government would want you to know that they killed their president?
Right.
Well, that's called line of sight anyway. That's what they did. They set it up so you're looking at what they want you to look at.
Of course, yeah.
You don't see what's actually happening on the back end.
My point is like there's this other topic that a lot of people would think that anybody that believed, just like people thought that anybody believed in Jesus, or we could pick a science thing or a religion thing, or that the earth, the moon wasn't made of cheese or whatever it is, right? So there's this thing that with you and somebody else that I'm just now starting to do some research on it. So I don't really want to talk about it.
Not yet.
Until
I can't wait.
Until I do. And like the more I learn, and again, I'm open-minded because this is one that just on the outside, you're almost afraid to say this because somebody say, oh my God, you're one of those. You're actually crazy. Have you ever been hospitalized?
Yeah, right. You on medicine?
Biggest one. It's the biggest lie.
Yeah.
It would be one of the biggest.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
They all kind of tie together, right?
They do.
They all fit together.
Yep, they all fit together.
All right, guys. Well, we got some shirts for you.
Yeah,
you pray for us, man.
brother.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Lord, thank you for this time we have together. Bless not only us, our families, but anybody out there listening to our podcast today. Anybody struggling, we're three that are always willing to help somebody. It's what we do. We love it. We thank you for our blessings. We're so grateful that we have our health, that we have prosperity, and we know that your trials and tribulations are building us to do your work and your will. God bless this day. Amen.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
All right.
Wrap.